April 1990, WrestleMania 6, the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope, and the premiere of Twin Peaks. Yet over in Japan, something else was happening. A new game released, blending a fantasy world and grid-based strategy combat, leading a group of characters with different classes and abilities through different maps, developing as they level up and gain more power. The game? Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. It was developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo for the Famicom. This game followed the Prince Marth in his quest to reclaim his homeland and save his family, and started a franchise that would see 5 more games released in the next 12 years. Along with the inclusion of Marth and Roy in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and the popularity of Advance Wars, another strategy game, the 7th game, Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade, released worldwide, known simply as Fire Emblem in the wider market. This game follows Eliwood, the father of Roy, alongside companions Lyn and Hector, as they embark in order to find the missing father of Eliwood. However, despite the new international market, the series found itself plagued with poor sales over the next few games, even though the reviews remained solid still. Intelligent Systems were informed by Nintendo that if their 13th installment had poor sales, then the series would be indefinitely shelved. Due to this, the development team worked on this game, aiming to give the series a proper finale if it did not meet the sales goal, going through different ideas and iterations before Fire Emblem Awakening released in Japan on April 19, 2012, 22 years after the first game had hit store shelves, with the game seeing major success on release, hitting its sale target just in Japan on the first week alone, which led to more international interest, releasing a year later to similar success, leading to a continued franchise to this day. Now, somewhere in between Awakening and the current day, something else released for the franchise. This wasn't a video game, however. Instead, alongside the release of Fire Emblem Fates, we got Fire Emblem Cipher, a trading card game, featuring characters from the various games and even some crossovers. The game spanned 5 years, releasing 22 sets and 12 starter decks, before it was eventually discontinued in April of 2020. Now, with the focus probably on Cipher, the rest of the video will be looking further into the game, covering 3 core aspects I think really make the game stand out, those being the cards themselves, the gameplay, and the community, each coming together to make what I believe was a truly special card game. Section 1. Cards. Now, you might be looking at this card and be completely lost, so let's break it down, top to bottom. Firstly, you'll see the stunning art, each card being brought to life by the amazing illustrator behind it. Then, in the top left corner, you have the cost of the unit, which is representing how much it costs to play it, with some cards, like this one, having a separate class change cost, which I'll go over in the gameplay section. Underneath this, there's symbols to represent the affinity of the card, first showing its colour, as well as which series it belongs to, the second to represent their gender, the third their weapon type, and finally, the 4th and 5th symbols to show any additional affinities that the character may have. So this card shows it has the blue colour, which is Fire Emblem Awakening. He is male, his weapon type is sword, and he has the additional affinity of monster. After this, we reach the quote, some text to help you understand the character and their vibe more, helping you immerse more into the cards as you play the game. This card reading, fate can never be resisted. Now just below the quote, we have any skills of the character, each having a name, giving more personality to the card. Then there will be any keyword skills and skill requirements, keyword skills being more commonly used abilities that have been shortened down to a few letters. Then the skill requirements show you the cost of activating the skill, which can range from a variety of different things, which will be covered again more in the gameplay. Finally, there's the skill effect, which is what the skill actually does, each character having a different set of abilities and powers to show their character and more of what they can do. For example, the first ability of this card, Awaken the Dead. This ability cannot be activated once per turn and needs you to tap 2 of your own Risen to deploy a Risen from your retreat area. And the other abilities on this card benefiting from you having all these risen to power up your units. Now, onto the bottom section. There's a lot of different things here. The first big ones being the two circles. The left bubble containing the attack of the unit, this card having 80, and the right containing support, 0 for this card. Both these come in more when we look at gameplay. Same with the next blue box being the range of attack, this card having 1. The next few give you more information on the character itself, the two yellow boxes representing their class and its tier, this one being the advanced class, Risen King. Near the end, we come to their name and title, finally letting you know who they are and what they are up to during this depiction. On this card, which I'm sure fans of Fire Emblem already know who they are, but for those that don't, this is Crom, Undead King of Despair, depicting an alternate timeline where the heroes fail and Crom is raised as an undead king. To finish off, there are two more things to go. First, the character's card number, which has the set they're from, the order they appear in the set, and their rarity, giving you some idea of how often they'll show up when you're opening packs. Then next to that is the credit, showing which of the many talented illustrators designed the art. There really was many talented illustrators, with 171 different artists being credited for their work on the cards, showing amazing renditions of older characters, action-packed showdowns, and just like our Crom, never before seen character and class combinations. Now, for the rest of this section, I'll show off more of this art, the ones that really stand out for me. Section 2. Gameplay. Now that you know the cards and what they're made of, let's take a look at the gameplay. To start, you'll need a deck containing a minimum of 50 cards, with a 1-cost unit from that deck being designated as your deck's main character, who'll start the game and play. In this deck, you also cannot contain more than 4 of a unit's name and title, but you can have 2 units with different titles, such as our Undead King of Despair Crom and this Crom newly exalted. Next, you'll need your battlefield, which I just so happen to have handy right here. There's a lot of areas here, so I'll quickly talk through them. First is the deck area, where you place your deck. Simple enough. However, this game does something most other games don't. When you have no cards left in your deck, instead of the game being over, you instead shuffle the cards from your retreat area and make a new deck, letting the game continue until a true victor is decided. The retreat area is where any discarded cards go, those being defeated units, cards used for support, any skills that call for it, and a few more game mechanics that will be seen later. Up above these is the support area, any cards that are used in support going there before being sent to the retreat, same with any failed supports. The orb area contains 5 orbs, being placed on the top of the deck after a starting hand is decided. The player taking an orb when the main character is defeated. These can be taken in any order, however if your main character is defeated when there's none left, you lose the game. Now we reach the bond area. This is where you place down cards from your hand during the bond phase, these bonds being used for deploying units alongside paying the costs of certain skills. Then we have both the frontline and backline areas, these being areas that you place your units down, neither area having a limit to the number of units that can be in them. However, you can't have characters in your backline if there's none in your frontline, and both main characters start play in the frontline. Finally, there's the boundless area. This image has it referred to as the Mugen area, but it's more known as a boundless area. This acts more like a standard discard pile in other games, with cards here being unable to leave unless by skills, not returning with the treat area when your deck runs out. And now, I'll present my totally amazing and accurate gameplay demonstration, going through the phases and everything to help you play the game. There are a few actions that take place before the game begins, such as deciding which player goes first. This can be done in many ways, like dice or a coin, The player who wins goes first though. However, as they go first, they don't draw in their beginning phase and can't declare an attack. However, they do get the benefit of being a bit ahead when playing out bonds and deploying units. Next, the players set aside their 1-cost unit face down to be their main character. This can only be a 1-cost unit and there is no exceptions, with players using a marker to signify who their main character is. After this, the players shuffle their deck and draw 6 cards, with the one-time option to mulligan their whole hand, shuffling it back and drawing a new 6 cards if they aren't happy with the original. Once this is done, the players put the top 5 cards of their deck face down into the orb area, flip up their main character, and are ready to begin the game. Now, the actual phases of the game, each player going through all 5 before their opponent's turn. The first of these is the beginning phase, where any start of turn abilities activate, any tapped units untapping, and the player whose turn it is drawing a card, unless it's the first player's turn, where they don't get this draw. After this, we come to the bond phase. This is an optional phase, where you place a card from your hand into your bond area, these being needed obviously for activating skills and deploying units. Because this is optional, later in the game you might not need to deploy bonds, so you can skip it. Now after this is the deployment phase. This is where players are able to place units in their hand in the front or back line, or class changing and levelling up their units. The cost of units you have the ability to play is dependent on the number of bonds you control, so if you have 4 bonds, you can play units up to a cost of 4. There are a few more rules on deployment in this phase, such as a player being unable to control 2 units with the same name, regardless of their title, so these 2 Chroms can't be together. You also are only able to deploy class change or level up a unit if you have a bond of their colour in your bond area, with face down cards not counting as having a symbol, but still counting towards your deploy cost. Class changing and levelling up have different rules too. A class change is the action of playing an eligible unit on top of a unit with the same name, using the reduced number below their deployment cost, although this still goes towards the number you're able to deploy. When a unit is class changed, the player draws a bonus card, and then any class change skills can activate. Units can class change the same turn they're deployed, however you need to have the bonds available to do both. A unit can perform as many class changes as they want, however the bonds still need to meet the requirements as usual. Finally, a class change unit can only use skills on the current card and none of the cards below it. Levelling up is similar to a class change, however it is the player placing a card with the same name and no class change cost on top of the unit, losing the card draw bonus. The player's main character also has the ability to level up. Now, we reach the action phase, where units may perform any of 4 different actions, such as attacking an enemy unit, moving to a different area, activating a skill, or just doing nothing. For attacking and moving, you have to tap your unit, turning them horizontal to signify the action. A unit that's tapped being unable to move or attack. Some skills may also require tapping your unit. Now, onto the rules of attacking, as they're a little more complex. First, you can only attack a unit based on the range of the unit and their position, with range 1 units only being able to attack enemies in the row directly in front of them, meaning if they're in the back line, then they can't attack at all. These ranges go up to 3, where your backline unit can attack an enemy in their backline. Then you tap the unit to signify their attack. After this attack is declared, any skills that activate when you attack will trigger, and then any enemy skills that can activate now will happen after yours. Then supporting happens, both players flipping the top card of their deck into the support area. If the revealed card has any skills, they activate, priority remaining with the attacking unit for these. Then each support number is added onto the attack of the units. However, a unit can't support themselves. If the card revealed has the same name as the attacking unit, this is a self-support, and the card immediately goes to the retreat area, not giving any attack and support skills, not activating. There are 2 more final parts of an attack, the first being a critical hit. After the support is added, the attacking player may choose to discard a card with the same name as their attacking unit, which doubles the current attack number, including the supports added onto the card. Then, if the defending unit were defeated, they may choose to perform an evade instead, done similarly by discarding a card with the defending unit's name, instead now nullifying the attack, ending the battle immediately, and moving on to the next unit that may want to perform an attack. After these choices, there is the outcome of the battle. After the steps above, if the defending unit did not evade, then the attack of both the units are compared and one of two things will happen. If the attack of the defending unit is higher, then nothing happens and both units remain on the board. Or the attacking unit's attack is equal to or higher than the defending unit, and they're defeated and sent to the retreat area. If they aren't your main character, of course, which instead takes an orb like mentioned earlier. Finally, if a skill would activate when a unit defeats an enemy in battle, which also counts the main character, or when a character is defeated in battle, these activate now, keeping the same priority of turn play going first. After this, the final phase of the turn occurs, the end phase, which comes after a player is done performing any actions with their units. Any skills that activate now may activate, and skills that stop being active when a player turn ends stop now, passing you over to your opponent's turn, starting back at their beginning phase. That was a lot of talking, right? Lucky for you, I've prepared a totally great demonstration of a turn just for you. Now you've seen all the gameplay and rules, you might be wondering too, what do the colours do and how do they work? I'll also go through these for you here to have you as prepared as possible. First, Red mostly consists of characters from Arachnia, but also including characters from both Valentia and the spin-off Tokyo Mirage Sessions. This colour focuses on aggro, putting out a swarm of cheaper units to have control over the board, with support abilities that let these units punch higher and take the heat off your main character while they deal with your board. Blue contains characters from your list, while also some more from Tokyo Mirage Sessions. This colour focuses on class changing your units, providing bonuses when they do so, alongside having the best Dragonstone units in the game. They also contain cards from the Grimleal, the Risen King Crom, using different Risen units for effects. White has cards from Hoshido, focusing on deploying units and the skills that benefit from this, alongside a lot of draw options. They also have access to the unique class ninjas. Some cards from this colour also have synergy with our next colour, gaining unison skills when you have an ally of the other colour on your field. Next up, we have black, focusing on Nor. This colour has a lot of destruction effects, however the payoff for it isn't the best, leading it to be on the weaker side of colours. This works well with white as mentioned before, both colours having access to special abilities, Dragon Blood and Dragon Vein. Units with Dragon Blood gaining skills from other Dragon Blood allies, and Dragon Vein skills flipping orbs face up, then giving a board-wide effect to both players. From the continent of Tellius, we have the green colour, aiming to level up and stack the units to gain advantageous level skills, that activate if you have the right number of cards under a unit. This card also has Master Class Change cards, who have their bond cost for class changing reduced extra. However, these aren't the only colour that has those, with both red and brown also having them. Purple characters come from Elib, having unique mechanics relating to their support emblems, having skills to flip bonds and activate other skills, with some characters having multiple of these support skills. They also have the increased skill mechanic, allowing player to flip extra bonds to reactivate a skill. Finally, the legendary item skill, certain characters having access to this, with abilities tying into the weapon and typically needing you to perform another skill a certain number of times to activate it. After this, we have yellow, these characters being from Jugdral, their main focus being bond skills, which can only activate if the card is in your bond area, alongside skills on the field that want certain cards in your bond area. Fodlan and its three major nations make up the brown colour, adding the Crest Power skill into the game, a skill that activates in the player's hand rather than needing to be in a certain game area. Finally, there are colourless cards, making up characters included in Heroes and Warriors. As they don't have a symbol, they can deploy without a face-up card, however if they're in the bond they don't provide a symbol for playing others, but this does make them a bit more splashable in other decks. Now, despite all these different abilities from the characters, you can build each colour a variety of ways to fit playstyles, regardless of their colour. Section 3. The Community. Now, despite Cipher being discontinued in 2020, there still remains a community for the game, with there being a large Discord full of people keeping the game alive, whether it be through custom cards, running their own tournaments, or just playing the game and helping out with any newcomers, which has been great for, making me feel especially welcome and helping out with parts of this video. They're a great group, and anyone interested in the game would be right to go say hi. Now, that's all for this video. Hopefully you found Cipher as special as I did, and hopefully I can make some more videos on it in the future. Until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.